So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Photo Conversations, where we have conversations about photography, film, and so much more about life. And today it's going to be so much more about life. So you're not going to hear me really talking about photography and film. And today we have Susan Asimwe, the girl from Kavali. Mm-hmm. I have to make that very, very clear, from Kavali. So Susan is a very good friend of mine. I've known her for a while, and one of the reasons why I enjoy having conversation with her is that we always talk about things and get to the depth of them. And I really, really enjoy her perspective on so many things. We talk politics, we talk creativity, we talk career, we talk family, we talk so many things. Yeah, and I'm glad to have you here. Lately, I'm having a problem on my podcast, a problem of introducing people. So yeah,
don't do this to me.
Yeah, because seriously, people are big. You might be big, and I miss one syllable in your title. So Susan, who are you?
Well,
besides being my friend.
I was going to start with I'm a friend. I'm a friend to wonderful people. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter as well. But outside of that, I love color. I've recently fallen in love with color. What I do for work is I design programs and projects to help entrepreneurs to thrive. Previously in my work, I'm also a petroleum engineer, practiced as a seismic engineer for a while, and then later pivoted to what I'm currently doing.
You guys, have you ever heard of seismic geopolitical? So that's interesting. And that you've shared with us, the seismic engineering, and now you're into business development and other things, is going to be the gist of our conversation. Mm-hmm. In today's, in these times, mm-hmm. you find that people are doing more than one thing. You find that someone who really majored in a particular career, maybe is a lawyer, or maybe is a doctor, you're going to find them doing other things. And I think sooner or later it's going to be like the trend, because, one career may not be able to make ends meet for mm-hmm. you. Mm-hmm. And then you ask yourself, am I only competent in only one field? And for me, usually the inspiration that gets me jumping from one field to another is, if I've made it in this field, I most definitely can make it in the other field. And usually that field that probably you've made it in, you find that is a lot more complex than what other people are doing. And you're like, if I can do surgery, perhaps I can also do music. Mm-hmm. I believe for me, it's the same intelligence being applied in a different way, or being applied in another specialty. So tell us more. How did you move from geoengineering and to business development? Yeah,
I wouldn't say it was an intentional move. I would say
by mistake.
No, but I think at the time when I was working in petroleum geoscience and production, seismics. Okay, to break it down, seismics is how we find oil. You send shockwaves to the ground, and the data that comes up tells you whether there is oil or not.
That's Susan, you wait. Why were you complicating things? You just send waves down.
That's
and then you get...
That's why I'm setting the path straight moving forward. But at the time when I finished working, it was on a contract base, and the contract wasn't renewed because the work had ended. So I kept looking for, jobs in the same field here and there until, there was nothing coming up. Mm-hmm. So I had a friend who had met in a volunteering position up in Gulu, who later moved to the Innovation Village. And then when I went to visit her, I found they had something called an energy lab supporting entrepreneurs within that space. And another thing I'm really passionate about is sustainability and climate, green energy. So I was intrigued. I wanted to be part of what they were doing. So I asked her, who can I talk to? So when she told me the person I would speak to, and long story short, that's how I got into the business development space, and I've since got better and better and learned a few things. I would say at first the transition was a bit scary because, growing up in Africa and being, called an engineer by your parents, and also you labeling yourself as an engineer, it kind of feels odd, but also you start to question, is this worth it? Is this who I am? Am I missing out? Because I had friends that were in that field. But also when your dad calls you and says, hi, engineer.
You're like, should I be away from this? I'm finished.
Are you saying something? Say it directly. Yeah, but that's how the transition began, and I've since grown in the area. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And for me, the beauty in transitioning from one defined career, or that career that either your parents or society feels should define you, the beauty in it, veering away from it, is you get to explore like your other capabilities.
Yeah.
And what are some of the capabilities you've exploited by the fact that you have moved to something else? Much as you might have the intelligence, the technical abilities, but when you move to something new, you're definitely going to find new dynamics. Everything works a little bit different. So what are some of these abilities that you discovered along, the path of taking on business development?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest abilities that I appreciate now is getting into the mind of the entrepreneur and what goes on behind the scenes, but also constantly thinking, what problem are we solving? Does it exist? And how can we help you to solve that problem really well? Mm-hmm. So when I'm, supporting entrepreneurs or designing projects to support them, I really have to understand their challenges. And that's like a world of knowledge because of the different fields in which entrepreneurs work. Mm. But also other skills that I've explored. One, I believe that I happen to be a very multi-passionate, multi-talented person. I feel like having pivoted to this career has allowed me the time that I don't think I would have had if I was doing engineering, because it's more tasking, more time consuming. You really have to have your head fully in the game. But this career has allowed me time to explore my other passions. Some of my passions that are really close to me are baking. I love having...
I've tasted your cake and...
Tell the people.
Susan actually makes very good cake.
Tell the people.
Yeah. So if you want to get some custom cakes, custom made cakes,
yes,
Susan is the right place to go. So I think I've tasted that, and I think in that area you are really pushing it. Yeah,
and these are more like passion projects. So I really love cooking. I love what else do I love? I love having conversations with friends. I like nurturing my friendships and relationships. I love hosting. I love, what else do I love?
You love social media.
Oh, okay, yeah. So social media now
is like the new thing for you.
Yeah. So social media, I recently got serious about my social media. I look at it as a space to thrive, and especially to step away from the corporate sort of setting that most times doesn't allow me to have a creative voice. And now I've created a space in social media where I share the things that I love and I'm passionate about. It's like my way of leaving a thumbprint that says this is Susan on the internet. Another thing that I love, which probably isn't out there, is interior design and fashion. I talked about color and how I found this really beautiful vintage cup that I'm so in love with right now. And I took a whole photo shoot
of the cup I saw. I was like...
Yeah, but that really, I've got to explore that a lot in my putting together my home, putting together my outfit. I just love thinking about colors and how they blend. Yeah.
You talking about all these things that you're passionate about, the things I can even see when you talk about them, like your eyes brighten up, you have a smile on your face. And I'm like, imagine like if you stuck to, I'm not saying you didn't like petroleum engineering, but I'm saying, imagine how much you would have missed out by just, saying I'm this or I'm that,
Yeah.
I think we kind of cut out our path, sooner than we should, cut out our final path to the, our final destination. I think, and that happens at school level. You're talking about high school, you're talking about primary school. Your path, your career path is defined by, by how well you perform in particular subjects.
Yeah.
And the basis for either your parent or your mentor or your school teacher is how well you do these subjects, how well you do at mathematics. So they get that and then determine, because she's good at mathematics, she's good at science, then she fits, the profile of an engineer.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're good at biology and maybe physics or chemistry, they say, okay, maybe she's fit to be a biochemist or this or that. In my opinion, I think that is a very superficial approach to, career guidance.
Yeah.
Where you look at subjects, but because when you look at subjects, all you're looking at is you're actually looking at like 2 or 3 or 4 parameters.
Yeah.
You're looking at information retention. You're looking at how well a person regurgitates what they've studied in class and how well, they put it on paper and answer the questions that you've framed for them. So for me, that is very shallow.
Yeah.
I believe that fitness for career is more than just the academics, and I think there is more in the inherent character of a person.
Absolutely.
And then there are also certain natural endowments, and I'll call those talents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that go a long way to shape somebody or to make somebody fit for a career.
Yeah.
Other than just depending on academics to determine what someone becomes eventually. And that's why sometimes I always say, I guess I was a photographer from the time I was born, but I only realized that retrospectively. It's now that I look back and I say, you know what? I actually had a good eye for things. I had a good eye for color. I have a good eye for proportions and composition and things like that. But back then, trust me, because I used to excel in science, I thought I was going to be an engineer or a doctor.
Can't even imagine.
But here I am. So for me, I think your journey of shifting and evolving from petroleum engineering to business development, working with entrepreneurs, sustainability, environment, and all these other things, I think it has, in my opinion, I don't know, but to me, it seems like it was a natural transition into who you already were as a person. You know, this is not new to your subconscious. Yeah, it is new to your environment, your physical environment, or like, now I'm going to deal with entrepreneurs. But inherently or like intrinsically, you have those traits. Perhaps it might be the ability to talk to people. Maybe it's the ability to process certain information from your environment that makes you a good candidate or a good fit for the career path you're on. But unfortunately, like I said, society bases its conclusions about what your career should be based on a very, very narrow, what do I call it? A narrow field of data. Like they get that data of how you perform and then say you're supposed to be this, which I think is really, really shallow. But then, I know you've talked about the business development and all that, but there's so many other things you're doing.
Yes.
You, whenever I meet, I'm always telling you, man, you ka design kavuddeyo bulungi. you're into reading, you like to read a lot. And I'm sure soon you talked about coffee, and I'm like, okay, now she's picking up her roots of being a true farmer also coming out. So moving forward from a business development, where do you see your next, what's your next adventure?
Oh, my next adventure. So as a person, I also really do things that don't necessarily generate money, but are purely for my joy. And one of the things that you say is books, reading books, coffee. I'm looking to get into some sort of farming, but more on a broader picture. I think what I'm really trying to get at, hopefully in the next 5 years, now that I put it into the universe.
Yeah, the universe is gonna.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, because I'm a very multi-passionate, multi-skilled person, I'm trying to get all of these and put them into a service that I can offer. Currently doing it on a small scale through virtual assistants for small and growing businesses. So things like social media, video editing, phone, product photography. I sometimes do voiceovers. He has paid me to do voiceovers.
Yeah, and so you're getting better every other one you get better.
Thank you. Yeah. And so while I was in a space before where I could fully explore all of those, I still want to be able to. However, where I'm heading to, I want to be able to put them in a service that I can offer, especially for businesses, because I've worked with businesses a long time, Ugandan-bred businesses, and I know the work that they put in, but I also know what they need to get better and how they don't have to always do everything for themselves. So that's what I'm looking to do. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So let me ask you a question. Do you feel that by you becoming like a multitasker, sort of like a jack of all trades, does it make you better or it makes you worse?
So, and let's get the saying clear. You know how people say, a master of one is a jack of all. Actually, the full saying is, a jack of all trades is better than a master of one.
Actually, I think it goes like a jack of all trades, but a master of none is still better than a master of one.
Is still better than a master of one. So I can't give a yes or no answer. What I've seen from my perspective is that first, people think that you don't go deep into things, which is not necessarily the case. I can get a skill and actually master it and get good at it and offer it as a professional. On the other end, there's the assumption that we look lost. No. We are not lost, actually. We're just living fuller lives. I'm kidding. No, but I would say, in my opinion, I feel it is much better to have options, because one of the things that I see my friends struggle with is because they've defined themselves, and granted, even the education system as we grow up, we fall into the trap of thinking we are one thing. No human being in God's wisdom was created as just one thing. So I feel like being able to have options, first in this economy as we know it, tomorrow you may not have your job, you may not have your engineering. Who are you then? Who are you outside without of your job? Who are you without your photography? Who are you? And I found like if you have already explored the multifaceted things that you can do,
then you have options to run to. And even better if some of those things are not necessarily to derive money, like you know who you are at the core. Okay, that's interesting. I like the idea that you need to have like sort of a backup, an assortment of things that you can fall back to in case you fall from your defined career. And for me, I go back to I think about it from a spiritual perspective of like, I don't think God could have just created you for one purpose. Like human beings being in all creation, being at the top of the pyramid, and all these other creatures and living things being at the bottom or below the human being, or being, or man being having dominion over all these creatures. I always think that there is no way that God could have created man to be like a specialist.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that, and I feel like if we were specialists, we would be like narrowed down to the animals at the bottom of
somewhere down there.
Because they're specialized and they do one thing, and that's what makes us intelligent, more intelligent than the other creatures. That we are able to multitask and be masters at different things. And the thing of being a jack of all trades, for me, my interpretation or my approach to it is learn one thing, put it at a certain level, learn it up to a certain level, and achieve at that level. Have an achievement in that level and say, I have done film up to this level. When you feel you've exhausted, of course you can't completely exhaust. You must have a threshold and be like, this is it for me in this career. Move on to the next. Apply the knowledge you've picked from one to the next. For me, it's sort of like one. You've had the proverb that the top of one hill is the bottom of another. Yeah. So when you learn photography, and it happened for me naturally when I embarked on my journey in photography. I worked so hard to reach a certain level and exhaust it. Started with weddings, moved on to parties and all. I've went to portraiture, went to documentary, and now when I reached that level where I felt like, okay, I've done quite well in photography, then I asked what's next. So then video came in. So now I'm exploring video and I want to exhaust it. Then after video, perhaps think of like strategic work in filming, maybe a director, maybe a producer, exhaust that. And I also have this is my philosophy, and I move by it. I say that the ultimate objective of any career, in my opinion, is leadership. And that's one of the things that people don't see. In my opinion, if you have not reached the level of leadership, for me, I feel like you haven't exhausted that career. So for me, usually leadership, when you're at the level of leadership, mentorship, for me, it's a sign of,
mastery.
You need to move to something else as well. So that's how I look at it. And I think I get a lot of you guys, you want to do everything kind of vibes. But I can't help myself, you know. I can't help myself because why would I see something that I can do and not do it? I try it. And before you know it, as you're trying it, someone tells you, you're actually good at this. And whenever they say that, you feel like, I think I should give it, more effort. Yeah. So that's really my take on, being a jack of all trades. So can we call you jack of all trades?
No.
It's not in the derogatory sense.
That's the thing. When people say it,
it feels like this guy has no direction
at all. I would say, call me multi-passionate, multi-talented.
Susan, and creating your own vocabulary.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I also really, really appreciate about you is you love life.
I do.
Yeah, and I see it when we meet. I see that, but I also see, it in how you do your things. You love life, and most importantly, you don't care much about what people think about you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I see that you put if the moment you're able to put yourself out there in social media, definitely it means that
you're ready for lose that.
You got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not affecting another person's life, I think it's the way to go. And
now that we're saying, allow me to say things that we appreciate about each other. One thing I appreciate about you is the conversations that we have. And also, like, it really, by the way, they never stop when we depart. It's more like, wow, how do I apply this in my life? It gives me fresh perspectives on different things, and I really, truly appreciate that. But also, one thing I really appreciate about you is how you go after passion projects and how you derive meaning and fulfillment from them. For example, this that we're doing right here started, what? I remember the first video.
The very first video.
The very first
video.
Do it, I die. You don't do it, you die. That's his mantra. And I really appreciate that about you. And everything you talk about, even in passing, somehow it just comes, you get to do it. And I was like, yeah, I want to be like you and buy this cup. Can you sell it to me?
I and Susan have this thing of cups.
Yeah, we do.
Cups, pots, Yeah, and as we close, I just want you to, where do you get this love for those tiny things and colorful things? Is it just in you, or?
So I think that I get it from my mom, but also I've always been a sort of old soul. I gravitate more towards vintage. I struggle, and today I struggle to find, when I enter a furniture shop, I just feel like this is all lifeless. That's all like the modern stuff. Where is the depth? Give me character.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that now makes you a good candidate for the next vintage ride along.
Yes, please.
I'm hoping by that time I would have gotten you the right machine.
Yeah.
That fits your character, and
I'd
hopefully
love
we
that.
can do a vintage ride along and podcast along the way.
Sure.
I did that thing, the vintage ride along with a friend called Uncle Ben.
Yeah, so that.
For me, man, it's something we just jumped into, and before you know it, we did 2 podcasts in a very short time, created a lot of content. So I guess if we do a vintage ride along, we'll definitely have a lot to talk about, and also experience Uganda. So thank you so much, my very good friend Susan Asimwe from Kabale.
Thank you for having me.
First, tell the people in Kabale. First, what do you for those
I'm
in
sending
Kabale?
greetings. Can they hear me? Can they hear me?
In English.
Nimbala musa mwena ba mama ba daddy abe mikwano naba na musia hati ni mundeba TV. Mundeba.
Susan, the other thing, you're such a comic. You're such a comic, but and that is when you are something, it's always good to be true to it. And, you remember those days of TV, how they would, even on radio, they would say banange tumida abantu. So now, Susan, what did you tumide abantu bamwe abekabale?
Mbatumene mu Luganda. Oh, okay. Abakabale nabo ruchiga. Ba daddy, ba mama, ba sister, ba brother. Mumpulire. Nimbala musa. Nimba kunda. Mwebale John.
One thing I like about you is you are a comic, and I'm sure maybe when people haven't spent time with you, they don't know that. But you are a comic, and you live by that when the moment so fits. You get. So that also for me is a lesson that be who you are, and be unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
Like me, to be honest, my laughter can sometimes scare me also. But I'm like that. That's you.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. And when I'm laughing, I'm like, that's I think that's God's mark on me. Yeah. So I like the way you're true to yourself. And to people watching, I think going forward, you need to be more true to yourself. Go out and find out who you really are at the core. You are more than just an engineer or a doctor. I'm not saying these are not good professions, or I'm not looking down on these. After all, they're the prestigious careers that we know since childhood. So I feel like go out there. I have this saying that you'd never know if you don't try.
Yeah.
If you want to know whether you're a good chef or not, just go in the kitchen and, you have nothing to lose. Yeah. So, So, Susan, thank you so much for turning up for this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I you've been telling me, you told me before we started that you've been preparing this for 3 years.
We were waiting for a second microphone. It arrived.
Yeah, and I also believe in, when you put it out in the universe, eventually it comes to pass.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. I think we're going to be having conversations about different things.
Yeah.
Because me and you conversations will always
never
go
end.
on.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking, whatever you'll be doing at the moment. I don't know what it might be. It might be politics.
Oh.
You might be, you might be wanting to stand for.
You just never know.
For MP of which constituency? Constituency.
Kamuganguzi.
You guys, there are places in this world. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for watching this YouTube video. And catch you on the next one. I'm really, really in love with conversations with people that matter, but ordinary people. You'll be surprised what you get from an ordinary friend. People are looking to interview like high profile people, and like they go around, you go around looking for this guy. Man, you're like,
book his calendar.
Just interview your friend.
Yeah.
I feel like each one of us has a very inspirational story. It's just the right timing that you need to find, and you just need to find, like, everything has to come into sync.
Yeah.
And then you just get that inspiration from someone like we just did. Yeah. So one last thing. What advice would you give to somebody that is caught up in a career and yet deep down in their hearts, their souls are crying out to, explore and experience and express themselves in the multiple ways that God endowed them with.
Yeah.
So what would you say? Like your closing statement?
Yeah. First, I understand it. And I know that the corporate 9 to 5 can really be tasking and time consuming. But I would say to you, create pockets of time within your day or even on the weekend to explore what you love. Lead with curiosity. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. Just try it. Try it, mess up, keep going.
Try it, mess up, keep going. Those are the words from Susan. So you heard it from the horse's mouth. So thank you so much, and catch you on the next one. Feel free to comment if you like.
No, please, no
pressure.
No. There's pressure. Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Catch you on the next one. Cheers. Enjoy your day. All right.
Oh, that was nice.